SamuelTsao versus Flurry is going to be the first match of the day. And I'm looking forward to this one, just to see if SamuelTsao can pull it together and try and keep his head above water in his division.
Yeah, SamuelTsao, one of the players who, honestly, the last couple of weeks I've actually been very impressed by. I feel like one of the things I often is a flaw of my casting is I get a too rigid mindset about certain players where I don't let their recent performance change my perception of how they're playing.
You made your opinion, and that's it.
Yeah, right, exactly, which is not how I should be doing it. Players change how they're playing, they change how much they're practicing, and honestly, I think SamuelTsao has had a very strong couple of weeks here. I think if he'd been playing the last couple of weeks as he'd been playing throughout, he would not be at such a dismal record as he is now. But he has been let down by his performance at the start. By what I think my biggest criticism of his was his just predictability, not very creative with his deck styles. But I think he's been playing some very strong Hearthstone the last couple of weeks, which is why I think he's in with a very good shot at beating Flurry, who overall in Grandmasters has undeniably been the superior player.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And this is where the interesting part of just the clash of lineups happens, as you can see just then. But SamuelTsao has, overall as a lineup, Quest Druid, Control Warrior, Combo Priest, and Quest Shaman, just the lineup, I feel like. Yeah. Whereas Flurry has Zoo Warlock, Highlander Hunter, Quest Shaman, Quest Druid. So, oh, there we go. Perfect. Wow. So, and as you can see, like, it's a very different lineup when you consider Flurry is the only player across Grandmasters this whole weekend.
Yes.
Not bringing Priest, which choosing Zoo instead, question mark. And then Highlander Hunter instead of a Warrior also. So very interesting lineup from Flurry. I think if anyone can do it, he can. And I see the logic behind it of just, well, I don't need to bring Warrior if I plan on just being able to deal with Priest in some different ways anyway. It was really funny, after our conversation with Priest versus Druid. Priest versus Druid yesterday. I was watching one of the first matches, I think, in EU last night after we got back.
Did Priest get dumpstered?
It was Priest versus Druid, and it just got destroyed by Druid, and I was like, just me being overly smug about something that I shouldn't be, because it's not just always the case, of course. I then went checked HS replays, like 65% Priest. I was like, but yeah, it was just really funny to see. That's all after the conversation. But again, if Flurry either chooses to let Priest go and have a strong lineup versus other stuff, because he has ended up with Zoolock, Quest Shaman, and Quest Druid, which none of those scream good versus Priest to me. Whereas he is going to end up with the Zoo straight away, so I can't tell you my Shaman plan yet. Hopefully we see it in the series. It's genius.
I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Genius.
Okay.
This is going to happen. Playoffs, Grandmasters. Someone's going to listen and do it.
I won't ask questions.
No,
I'll wait for.
Just wait till just give you anticipation.
I'll stop trying to shake the present and figure out what's inside.
That works both ways. Don't shake the present. Wait for the future. What I'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, shake the present, and then to see what's inside. I was like, oh, a gift.
All right, Master Uguay, calm down.
Okay, right. Game 1, Flurry on the bottom on the Warlock, and SamuelTsao on the Priest on the top. And what do you think about this matchup? I'm still undecided.
Yeah, it's a matchup that always feels to me as the Priest like
so many
I should be massively in the lead, but it doesn't always play out that way, because the way the matchup goes is basically whoever pulls ahead and can start value trading wins the game almost 100% of the time. There's some ways the Priest can come back with Wild Pyromancer, there's some ways the Zoo can come back with Knife Juggler or I don't know, maybe a big Vulture turn, something like that.
SC Giant.
Possibly. Things like that can happen. But it's really just about absolutely locking down board presence as soon as you possibly can, which generally, actually, I think the Zoo is better able to do on the average draw from both sides. But if both decks get the best draw, of course, Priest wins.
Yeah, and it's definitely weird for me, because I think on a surface level, if you just talked about if you knew what both decks roughly did, their goals, you would argue that surely Zoo should win. It normally plays bigger stuff quicker, so then can overrun. But it just doesn't. And I think really it's just the heal. The heal and the fact that most of the Priest buffs are health dominant means that the trades plus heal just make it happen for Priest over time. But we'll see if Coin Nephroceptor actually comes into play here, because... Okay. want it to die to a direwolf?
Yeah, direwolf juggler, I guess, as well. It was a very
that's
interesting switch there. And it works out okay here, actually, honestly. And I guess his other thinking was, how good is Topsy-Turvy in the matchup?
Yeah,
It's definitely one of the less good cards.
So again, it's easy because we can see cards in hand.
Yeah.
Like exactly Abusive Sergeant, or even Juggler, as you said, could get it done with another 1-drop. But for me, I was wondering, do you ever just Topsy the Voidwalker and just trade away and leave a 2/3 on an empty board? That definitely seems worse overall.
Topsy the Voidwalker. Oh.
You lose the Warden, but you have a 2/3 on a completely empty board versus this. This has obviously worked out pretty well.
How would you Topsy the Voidwalker? It was a 1/2 at the start. And if you have a 1/2 Light Warden versus a 1/3 Voidwalker. Topsy the Voidwalker and then just trade. Oh, you just straight trade.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
As in just end the turn with I've got a 2/3, you've got nothing.
Sorry, I thought you meant value trade.
No. That would be insane.
That would be insane. Yeah.
But yeah, so I was just looking at that for a minute. Obviously, this worked out way better, and I don't think there were too many things that could have gone drastically wrong for SamuelTsao. It's just one of those weird, intricate plays, isn't it? It doesn't feel good, but it probably just is good. Which is the mark of a good Hearthstone player, actually. When they make the plays that don't look right, but they end up being right, it's like, okay, you're probably pretty good at this game.
And it does look like SamuelTsao again here may be forced into making another incredibly low value play. Like he's used Topsy-Turvy and Inner Fire for next to nothing, but it may be those cards that win him the game. Like literally just 1 mana plus 1 attack could be the difference between winning and losing here.
Yeah, and when I make plays like this, I tell myself things in a nicer. I use my caster skills to phrase things in a more positive manner.
Okay.
That was 1 mana, clear the board, and have a 5/1 at the end of it against Zoo.
That sounds amazing.
You know, right? Yeah. But that's honestly what I do because it's like 1 mana gain 1 attack for an Inner Fire sucks if I sold it to you like that.
Yeah.
But as a wordsmith, you just move it round a little bit and make it sound sick. Like 1 mana, clear the Zoo board. Oof.
Right.
It's insane.
It's not small. It's cozy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just comfortable.
It's a fixer-upper.
Yeah, whereas I don't even think I could manage the 1 mana make a Blade Master or 1/1. It's like, I've got nothing for that one.
Yeah, this one sucks. I'll be honest with you. You don't want this one.
Brace yourselves, guys. Got some great wordplay coming up. It's bad. Could just heal trade, of course. And you just drop the Pyro.
You may as well.
So.
Is Flurry running Spirit Bombs? No, he's not even running Spirit Bombs. So there's like nothing that answers it out of hand, right? And I think if your opponent's trading into a Wild Pyromancer instead of a 5/1, I really don't mind that too much.
You can heal it. Oh, right, like I said, for me, on the surface, I would naturally lean towards Zoo if I didn't know enough about the game, obviously.
Yeah.
But really, the Priest heal does so much. Look at this. The Blade Master's still alive, and it's traded with 2 minions. It's insane.
It does do a lot, but I think this is like, for Flurry, a quite poor draw, at least in the mid game. Like the fact that he's left with Grim Rally and Leroy, both of which are nothing cards right now, means that I think on average, if SamuelTsao plays out like this, he would be behind, and then the heal does nothing. You have to have stuff on.
Oh right, yeah, of course. Yeah,
but
heal
I
face
agree.
doesn't do much.
Right now, it's pretty nuts actually.
Yeah, it's just managed. SamuelTsao's just managed to I think they both had reasonably average into bad hands.
Yeah.
So I think the heal's done enough to actually push SamuelTsao ahead, whereas I feel like at the moment Life Tap has not pushed Flurry ahead.
This is an interesting juncture for SamuelTsao. He could go Circle of Healing, I guess Inner Fire the Circle of Healing, heal his Pyromancer, Inner Fire the Wolf, which clears it off and keeps his Pyromancer on board. Which is good, of course, but Circle of Healing is pretty good with 1 Samdi in hand.
Yeah, I would.
Get yourself Clerics, just trade.
I'd trade and say, your move, friend. I like this.
I think
1
I like this
Samdi
too.
almost certainly never dies. Right? Like this
They
turn
are
has to be
full turn of
really
development.
good.
I don't think it's fair to say almost.
Oh, okay. If 1 Samdi dies, the Zoo has no board.
That's
Is that fair?
That's fair. Yeah. I'll
so
agree with that.
either that happens or 1 Samdi lives, which means you can do cleric circle stuff, which is nice.
I like it too.
Yep, slam the 1 Samdi. And this is it, right? This is kind of my thing. Like, if the trades go into 1 Samdi, well, cool. It's just a 7/7 draw a million cards taunt against Zoo. Like,
oh my god, look at this Bonsamdi. It's insane.
and now look at the circle. It's
yeah.
worlds are different. Oh no,
Not
I have
even
a Pyro
close.
versus a circle with all these clerics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, let's just wind this back and discuss builds. This is the Hunter Ace build. And there are players not bringing Bonsamdi, so this just wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
There are some players that are bringing like no Bonsamdi and a silence.
Double silence.
And then look at this game.
Yeah.
You just lose.
And honestly, I do like the double silence squad. I just don't think Bonsamdi's the cut for
Agreed.
double silence.
Agreed. I think Bonsamdi is such just it's a good card
Yeah.
almost all the time.
This is one of the cards that I oh. Oh. Wait, what?
Ah!
I'm sorry, what?
It's our best mate, Derek. We've not seen him for a while because no one's playing Rogue. Generous mummy.
Okay, sorry, we were busy talking about Bonsamdi in general. When, in this particular instance, the Generous Mummy is the nightmare. SamuelTsao can literally draw his entire deck. If you're SamuelTsao here, you start playing cards now.
Yeah,
you
dude,
just
go.
start going.
It has to be lethal, right?
It has to be.
Okay,
lethal.
I'll change my phrasing.
With the Pyro as well?
If you could pause the game timer
Oh, yeah.
and sit and look and work everything
is
out,
lethal.
it has to
This
be
is
lethal.
lethal.
But now the real test of the game begins, and I think the test that maybe a lot of viewers and maybe us don't give enough players the credit for.
Yeah.
Well, look at the turn timer. It's just under SamuelTsao's
It's
face.
halfway done
It's just about
already,
ticked
almost.
halfway done.
Yeah.
He has that much time again, and then that's his whole turn done. He has to go now.
Is he playing Inner Fire when he's already played one Inner Fire? He's
He
played,
wants to draw. Wait, if he does this, he draws his
he's played
whole
a Topsy and an Inner Fire. That's his last attack buff card gone.
Is he just going to make a giant Bonsamdi?
He can still win, absolutely. He doesn't
got you,
need
friend.
to have it.
He's running out of
But
time. though.
Lethal's gone
He's
now.
probably
He
got like
cannot
a
hit
quarter of
Lethal.
his turn left.
In the light's name.
Go see the rope any second. Thinks about.
Was this the play? This felt like it wasn't the
Well,
right
what if he just
play.
makes like a 22 health Bonsamdi?
I guess so.
Or 20 health.
Yeah, yeah.
Bonsamdi,
If he
yes,
clears the
right?
board, he still wins, absolutely. I guess this is... He just needs to clear. He just needs to get clearing right now.
Well, let's just sit for 5 minutes and work out what the hell happened that game, that turn. So, I'm sure he aimed Bonsamdi at the Vulture. But did he not double the hell? He didn't double the hell. He floated 4 mana.
Absolute nightmare
Yeah.
turn there for SamuelTsao. That was game. He's still miles in the lead, of course, but the game's not over. And this is what we're talking about, right? We see this so often. That was an incredibly difficult turn for SamuelTsao. We're not
Yes.
trying to say it wasn't, but just playing more cards, even if it was in an unoptimal order, was better than that, surely.
You know what I think had to happen? I think that it had to, instant, almost snap pick, it had to be Cleric, heal Bonsamdi.
I agree.
Draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
If you get another spell, then you just go Pyro, boom, boom, draw, boom,
Inner
boom,
Fire,
dead.
Divine
Yeah,
Spirit,
game.
And this is what I mean. We've seen this too many times in Grandmasters, and I'm trying to make it clear how difficult the turn was, but
The
there
problem
are
here is, though,
good things you have to do.
SamuelTsao
and
might
that's not
lose.
it.
It's not like he left up a
Yeah.
board of trash. Like
Yeah,
these
he left up a
minions,
strong board.
the Generous Mummy, might have hurt Flurry then, but it is a 4-attack minion. It's, how much damage now? 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19 with the Lackey. Obviously, he's not going to dump it all to face, I imagine, because it's 91
Yeah, slow
needs
down.
to die. But my point is,
Yeah.
it's not like Flurry's not got a board. Like,
That's
look
right.
at this. And he knows there's no attack buff. Once Sandy can have a billion health, he ain't getting more attack. Without extra arms, okay.
The problem is that Generous Mummy still gives SamuelTsao
But does it matter?
all this discount.
He's never dead.
He has no Divine Spirit. He has, sorry, no Inner Fires
not dead.
and no Topsy. He cannot deliver lethal.
He gets
on
1
this
attack
turn.
this turn.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's used both Pyros, hasn't he?
Yes, he could res one.
I think he has to. Well, imagine
He's just dying.
He's
He's
got
just dying.
1 single attack and a taunt if he reses it. He needs to res Pyro. He just has to. If he reses Pyro, he's fine. If he
Yeah.
doesn't, he's lost. Oh, Sam, lucky boy.
Flurry here. I've got to be honest. Flurry is allowed to be upset.
I'd be annoyed.
I'd be annoyed.
My opponent
You
played
got
a bad turn.
The worst card
Yeah.
in Generous Mummy. Your opponent flubbed it, and they're still in with a chance. Yeah, look at him. He knows exactly what's up.
He does still have Leroy, though. And I guess the question is...
SamuelTsao has the clear. He has the clear.
He has it, but if he clears, he has to trade, right? As in, he has to trade with the Giant.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm just working out the
As long as he does it.
what I'm trying to work out is, can Flurry refill? Because SamuelTsao has one single attack this turn, which is into the Giant. So is his refill good enough? He didn't even kill everything.
He did not.
Wait, that's what, 11? He's one off?
Flurry needs 1 damage to win the game.
Has he got 1 damage?
He can hit Grim Rally. So he just has to go as wide as possible this turn, right? Because, again, he knows SamuelTsao does not have lethal. He's used 2 Inner Fires, a Topsy, and now both halves of extra arms as well.
Wait.
There is no extra
he should go
damage in the
face.
deck. Yes, there's no extra damage in the deck. Oh no, because he damages himself. If he goes face, he dies.
Right, yeah. So
he has to trade. He has to trade. Or not attack. He could not attack.
What about Leroy trade? Does that ever work?
Leroy into the
Oh, he can't play another minion though. If he could play another minion, I think maybe Leroy trade would be good. Wow.
Was it even correct to tap there? Like maybe for Flurry, the play was not to look for lethal and go Dragon.
Just play Dragon.
Dragon Leroy or Dragon, yeah.
Dragon, go face. Then he'd be alive.
Yes, at 2 more health he would.
Yeah, he'd be alive by 1.
Yeah, he would.
And he's alive every single time, right?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe that was a mistake by Flurry. You can see why he did it.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, I thought he went for the Blunt Sandy. I was like, I think you actually go to the Pyro.
He cannot die here. He cannot die.
It's impossible. What a game 1 of today. Insane on both levels.
I know. And honestly, for SamuelTsao, it's just kind of disappointing because he has been playing so much better, in my opinion, the last couple of weeks. I thought he would be able to make that turn work.
He has to play... Wait, doesn't he have to Psycho Pump? What's he...
He doesn't know about Leroy.
Well, no, but he knows about the million minions he can't kill.
Yes.
Why didn't he Psycho Pump first?
Wait, if he plays Psycho Pump after, he gets more health buff?
But now he can't, if he gets a Pyro, he can't do anything.
Oh, you think about Pyro. I was
well,
thinking about
Pyro
Tolvin.
or Taunt.
Yeah.
Think about it, you play it,
Sure.
you either get your Taunt or your Pyro. Depending on that, you can follow up.
Yeah.
You can Divine Spirit the Taunt with heals or not. And now there's just game.
It's just game.
Deserved, I think.
Oh, no.
What? Oh, wait, where did he... Did I just not see a Tolvir in his hand? Am I
It was the last card. He drew it as the last card. So now he takes 1 fatigue down to 11.
And he can go 10. Oh, he's 1 off again.
Well, it's a 6 health guy there, right? So still not quite there.
Oh no, he's lost. Oh, I don't know. For some reason, I just blanked on a Tolvir existing.
Yeah, it was the last card.
Yeah. So it's crazy. He did get the Tolvir, which, again, maybe changes SamuelTsao's plays there on that last turn. I said he should have Psycho Pumped, but I didn't realize his last card was actually exactly Tolvir, which does change a couple of things, of course, and makes way more sense.
Yeah.
But you wind back to that big turn for SamuelTsao, and I think something that players need to do maybe more. I don't know their intricacies of their training, of course, or practice, but I think there needs to be almost a flow chart of if there's a crazy turn.
Yeah.
What are the
Priority,
basics?
orders
What are the
of priority.
basics? And just go boom, boom, boom. But that was just game number 1. Flurry taking the loss, SamuelTsao taking the win in a pretty crazy way to open up today. Stay tuned, though. We're going to recover from that one and get into game 2 shortly. We'll be right back.
Well known for their top top-notch performance and long-time efforts in the local fan community. We've created a special and memorable Hearthstone-themed weekend.
We are back, and we hope that both players have recovered from the craziness of that first game of Hearthstone for the day. As on both sides, there was big moments. SamuelTsao there like, I should have healed first.
Doesn't look like he's recovered. I've got to be perfectly honest. It looks like he's dying.
Composure is important, of course. It was a crazy game, but I think with any sport, esport or what whatever, it doesn't matter.
T-sport.
T-sport, just letters now.
Yeah.
With any A-sport. Being able to just reset sort of composure levels after a bad moment is so important, right? And that's just across the board. And we see players historically, players who like lose game one or something bad happens in the game, and then that sticks with them for the series.
Yeah.
Probably on average just lose. Whereas if you can just go, well, it's happened, there's nothing I can do, reset, new game, new decks, go. I think that skill is actually very important in competitive Hearthstone.
That's why I'm such a great Hearthstone player, because I'm so bad, I don't even realize when I've messed up. So I go in with a blind confidence, no matter what mistakes I make.
The best time to realize you messed up most of the time is after the match.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
If you like that kind of, you're quite emotional about those things.
After you've glued your table back together.
Yeah. I wonder if Rivius gave Casey any tips.
Oh no. Casey is the table smashing master. It is undeniable.
It's just a shelf with just glue in his room. Duct tape.
All labelled in case of priest.
It's just a glass box break in case of priest emergency. And there's no hammer to break the glass, he just punches it. It's crazy. SamuelTsao versus Flurry, of course. So let's get back to it. Game number 2, Druid Mirror. We're messing about mainly because there often isn't a lot going on in the early game of Druid or Quest Druid Mirrors. Except for this, you can argue that Crystal Merchant is actually, I think, 3 on highest win rate mulligan cards.
I think it's generally number 1, maybe after Innovate.
Yeah, I knew it was 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always right at the top.
Innovate's always 1, which is great, because it's like 0 mana, gain a mana. It's like the highest win rate card in the deck, which is glorious. But yeah, it's definitely top 3 no matter what. And you can see that, right? Because SamuelTsao not only chipping away at bits of health, which might not look like much, but it's something. But he's also done something on a turn you don't normally get to do anything on, which is huge. He's like gained a turn.
Yeah, the one real decision for me that I found kind of interesting for SamuelTsao is that we have seen some players, when they're on the coin and they have Crystal Merchant in hand, they sometimes go Coin Merchant and then Quest on 2. Which of course gives them a draw a turn earlier, because they don't have to go Quest Coin and then...
But then Quest goes off a turn later.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't understand why players do it, but I have seen it a few times.
I think that's people trying to be too fancy.
Maybe. It's just something to talk about.
I mean, it's something you can do, and it's not all, it's not like, they're just doing something that is worse.
There are reasons, but then my thinking is, why not
like
just play Quest on 1 and then Merchant Coin on 2?
One extra damage down.
An extra damage.
1 extra damage. Like,
it's not irrelevant.
If you told me, like, I don't know, 1-drop aggro paladin was the #1 deck on ladder.
Yeah.
Fine, you get a 1/4 against a token deck. You got me. I'll give you that one. But right now, Quest 1 turn late in this deck. Nope, I'm not about that.
But the interesting thing in this okay, I was going to say the interesting thing is that SamuelTsao, despite having found a bunch of good early draw, hasn't found a lot to do with it.
Is too full.
Until he found the Nourish. Did deliberately overdraw a card. Well, he overdrew a card. Whether or not he realized or not is another question.
That could have gone very wrong.
What's he playing in the deck? King Feoris and Elise.
I hope nothing, considering it's okay to burn a card with this hand, because that is scary.
Well, what else was he actually doing? His hand was pretty weak. I think I actually don't mind it.
I wonder.
But what if you burn Feoris, do you just lose?
I don't think so. He's still got, Cenarius, Elise, Zephyrus. Like, he can just go into the late game. It's terrible for his chances.
Yeah.
Because what else was he doing that turn? You've got to start being proactive.
Time waits for no one.
Another Loti.
What?
That's fine.
He could have wrapped.
Loti, Crystal Merchant. He could have ramped.
He wrath.
Oh, sorry.
Probably just me, probably mumbling. But yeah, I think he could have like wrathed, drawn a card, and worst case played Loti.
Maybe.
Don't get me wrong, I love Nourish. It's probably, I think, one of the best cards in the deck. Top 3, top 4. But if the second, because it's a mirror match as well, the second he burns like a Cenarius or a Pharaoh, sorry, then he's just way behind.
Right, but what happens if he is met next turn by Flurry, who's just played Nourish, Cenarius into King Feoris, or blah 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 blah? What if he's behind on mana to the point where he just loses on tempo mid-game? He didn't have Starfall in hand at the time, so he was limited on answers.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's tough.
I'm playing, to an extent, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I still think I probably would have done the same thing. Because there's so many cards that are just not very good to match up. But that's a card that did turn out to be pretty good in the matchup.
Oh yeah, 3 mana, 3/3, kill 2 5/5s.
Insane. I guess this is a good point as well to talk about the late game scenarios for both of these players. Yes, haha, late game scenarios for both of these players, as they've gone slightly different routes. Flurry has omitted King Feoris, whereas SamuelTsao has omitted Chef Nomi. So the super late game for Flurry is, I think, quite significantly stronger. But the mid game for SamuelTsao, on average, I think should have a little bit more kick to it.
That's true. That's true. Funny that they both play mind control tech as well.
They play MCT tennis.
Yeah, it's just an interest. It's just I feel like it's not that common to have both players running. I think it feels like we normally at 1 or 2. SamuelTsao, sorry, Flurry. Literally worst outcome. Not only did he have to deal with the shenanigans in game 1.
Yeah.
His mind control techs are like twins.
Mind control tech steals mind control tech. He's like, hey, what are you doing? That's my job.
What about double swipe? Does that ever just do enough?
Swipe, innovate, swipe, clears off 2 minutes.
Gives him some room in his hand. Because the problem now is he might just get beaten up. Because what if SamuelTsao has swipe?
Right, or what
and
if he just goes Scenarios or something like how
Right, he just gets whacked in the face.
That's a good point.
I think with Starfall in hand, with some other cards like Surger, I think now use your swipes because they clear this board. Obviously without Loti, but you ain't clearing Loti anyway.
Yeah.
So use your swipes that are kind of bad now, and then use your Surgers after. He did go for just one swipe and holding on to the Innovate. Not really sure what he's holding on to the Innovate for. I guess we'll find out shortly.
I guess I think he trades well enough here, and I mean Scenarios is just bad enough no matter what.
Speaking of which,
speak the devil. I think that's pretty clearly the pick.
Scenarios into the Floop Narius. Is that's huge. And now I guess my not my frustration, definitely. I guess my problem with not double swiping was the potential for this to happen.
Yes, this was the punish.
Because now Starfall's good, Swipe's still decent, but you could have just not taken 7.
This does allow him to obviously make kind of trixier plays like Hidden Oasis, Innovate, Starfall, and I guess also thinking that Swipe there was just not good enough. But I do think I actually agree with you that this is just a little bit too bad for Flurry.
And again, by no means am I saying, if he double swiped, he'd win the game.
Yeah.
It's just really, when you fall behind in the mirror, it's just how you negate damage, because sometimes you might have to take a hit, and you need as much health as possible to take that one, that one full board swing from the opponent.
Yeah.
And I think using a swipe there might have been good enough. Mainly as well, this Innovate isn't really doing too much. Like you said, you can't heal, taunt, and put out Starfall. Maybe he wouldn't have needed to if he'd used it beforehand. I guess he just has to Surge it now, right?
I wonder.
Oh, so
Surger and Starfall? Yeah. I suppose that does a pretty good job of clearing up.
Is he just short, killing everything?
Well, what does Swipe do? Can you get away with Swipe instead? Nah, it's
Not without
a little
Loti.
bit too weak, yeah.
And again, let's just wind back. Just the difference between one player having Loti soundboard and the other not is worlds apart.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But of course, by not keeping it stealth, SamuelTsao, has lost some percentage points in terms of his own board sticking around. But I guess given that he was so much on the aggressive there, I think it was reasonable to assume that it's more important to get the 6 damage face.
And now Scenario Swipe.
It's very, very strong. I'm just wondering if you have to keep Floop around for later.
For what,
Do you just take your tempo? Well, for Feoris or Zephrys.
Anything else you do this turn, you're using spells anyway, right? So it actually makes your Feoris worse by not playing Scenarios in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, I was
playing Floop, should I say?
I was trying to find any way that you don't play Floop here. Like, can you get away with making a similarly powerful turn, but nothing else is even really close, in all honesty. I wonder if SamuelTsao is wondering if he should ever have played Zephrys as well, just for more.
I think he's more considering right
For no one.
Over Swipe?
No, both.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Oh, I don't know about this. Oh.
Would you like to have saved that to go with Loti?
I like to just save that to do something more than what a swipe could do. Look at
How
look,
about
look.
double swipe face? Does that entice you at all?
Well, what entices me last turn was rat the 3/3, cycle the card, swipe the face. I think that would have been better.
Sure.
So I think a lot of this deck is utilizing mana and cycling cards.
Yeah, maybe.
And the Starfall is, I think, better as the game goes on, or better in many other
try and clear the board,
circumstances.
yeah.
Whereas Swipe doesn't kill most Druid minions, right? If there's 2 1-health minions on the board and you can swipe face, like 4 mana, kill off 2 Surges and deal 4 damage is insane. Still double swipe available. There's another Starfall as well. And this is just, I think this is just too much. Flurry just lost it with the MCTs.
Yeah. By swiping face, it's not like he gives any more healing from hidden
No, it doesn't.
Oasis as well.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just
I
about
think
he
I
wants
just like
to get value with the 2 damage AoE part of it as well.
Again, though, like, I'm nitpicking now because I'm almost certain Flurry's lost.
Yeah.
But even like a swipe then doesn't change the health. And also, what if Zephyrus becomes active next turn?
Yeah.
You can't go Zephyrus swipe, and then a Zephyrus spell. Or card, should I say.
Another 12 healing for Flurry is really the only thing that's keeping him in this game, but he is just absolutely run out of any other maneuvers after this. It has to be Zephyrus activating on the following turn, I think, for him to have even a hope of winning this game.
Funnily enough, if like Zephyrus into twisting doesn't put Flurry on 8 health or less or whatever, you know, like a super low health total, then there was a chance because SamuelTsao actually didn't have much left. Okay,
Didn't have much left.
Well, he still doesn't have much left. It's Felris and a Zephyrus, which
True.
you can argue is a lot, but Zephyrus still isn't active. If Flurry could have done a decent job
Yeah.
of clearing this board. Obviously, he can't, but I was just saying, even this late in the game,
Yeah.
if you're a bit too blasé with the way you put minions on the board in the mirror match,
Yeah.
and you get blown out hard one turn, then your recovery isn't as strong every turn that goes on.
It's true, but even then, I think
It's
with the,
fine.
with the Nourish being picked up, SamuelTsao has a lease as well. I think he's just got a pretty strong point in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Flurry as well. Both games a little bit
Yeah.
unfortunate. Flurry kind of had the Restless Mummy happen, of course, but then SamuelTsao whiffed it in game number 1, but still managed to get the win. And now this is honestly feels like so much of this game came down to MCT both ways. SamuelTsao's MCT gave the trade into Flurry's 2 Surges, whereas Flurry's MCT stole the only 1
Yes.
minion on the board that was bad out of 4.
This game, Flurry's just got pretty unlucky. But honestly, I think in the first game, while the obvious blunder was SamuelTsao, I think Flurry was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I agree.
That turn at the end where he taps to try and find the 1 damage to find lethal, the more I think about that, the more I think that was just a mistake.
Well, I also don't know how many more 1 damage sources were left.
Right, exactly. It was like
Yusuf
Direwolf
was
Alpha
used, Juggler, Direwolf Alphas were used.
and only Grim Rally, I think, were the chances. Or discovering a lackey, I suppose. So there were outs there, I suppose, but he had a very strong play he could have made otherwise where you never ever die and you get to push more damage face and hope that that gets there.
Okay, so
It was close. It was very
for now, for SamuelTsao, you just slam Ferris, right? You've just seen
I guess.
another. You've just seen, I think, everything that Flurry's got.
Is
Like,
that losing to Zephyrus? What if Zephyrus becomes active on the following turn? Is it not better to swipe face?
But you have 2 5
Play the
then,
Oasis
right?
Surge,
You have
yeah.
2 Surges.
I just don't get why you don't play the Oasis Surge this turn, swipe face, and then it still demands a Zephyrus to clear the board. And if they have it, then you play Feoris.
Is it kind of the same, just the other way around?
Yes, but with the other way, you're putting the weaker board into Zephyrus.
I'd argue this might be the weaker. Well, okay, it's not strictly the weaker board, but
Weaker
I
than
mean,
2
like,
5/5s.
okay. I mean that you use a swipe, so you get 1 less minion anyway from Feoris.
True, yep.
And the problem is, in that time, you might not do strictly that play.
True.
There might be something else, and then suddenly you've used another spell, and it gets worse.
Maybe.
I think it was very difficult for SamuelTsao to lose from this point.
I
and I
agree.
still think Surge, Swipe, Surge, Starfall, Zephyrus being active for SamuelTsao are all things that were going to happen and are still going to be powerful.
Yeah, he's drawing for the 1 extra card in his deck. That's a 2 of. Honestly, I'm not actually sure what the 2 of card left in his deck.
I
We don't
can
have
see.
access to
Oh,
deck
and he got
tracker,
Flute.
but that's not it.
Alrighty then, SamuelTsao gets a win, and again, a couple of shaky moments, but I think overall, a solid play at least in game number 2. But again, in that game number 1, I think it's not just SamuelTsao, but some of the players are a victim of maybe trying to overthink. And as I mentioned, very, very difficult turn. I think there was lethal in there guaranteed.
Yep.
But working that out in a few seconds is difficult. So I think trying to go for, okay, well, what's one step that does well that can lead to step 2 instead of trying to think of the whole turn in one go. Might be a better way to do it for most people.
I agree. You don't get extra points for having better lethals or fancier lethals. If he clears the board there, that would be cool.
That was so funny,
Style points for Hearthstone, like SSX Tricky or something.
Great game, underrated.
Was a very good game. But besides the point, I think that for SamuelTsao, if he just cleared the board, got down board control, he never loses the game. It's just over at that point. And so I think it was, like you said, he should have had an order of priorities of which, spending the whole turn thinking about exactly what to do, it's not good enough. You play 2 clerics, you heal. That will be good enough. That will win you the game.
Yeah, and I think it's not good enough because the second you make your move 1, your turn changes.
Exactly.
So you can't. It's not like thinking about the whole turn with cards in your hand and then board and that's it. You consider every card that's drawn. But anyway, we could harp on about that. But mainly, congratulations to SamuelTsao because, as we said, as we are moving towards the end of Grandmasters Season 2, every single match is important. Every single win is huge. We have seen players move up from relegation spots to above that and stave that off for now. And then we've seen players who were looking great a week ago. And now after this weekend's performance, who have maybe not done so well, and now looking like in a week's time, if it goes bad again, they could be in relegation.
Yeah.
So every single match you see get played out in Grandmasters is vital for all these players.
And it is vital most of all, I would argue, not even to SamuelTsao, but to Blood Trail. With SamuelTsao in 7th place and Blood Trail right down at the bottom in 8th. He needs SamuelTsao to do poorly to have a chance. It sounds kind of mean, like bad sportsmanship.
It's
the way it works.
It's just fact.
He needs someone else to have a poor score so that he can win every single game from here on out. Because at a 1-8 record that Blood Trail is now rocking. The best score he can have from here on in is 6-8. Which means he has to have one of the other players do poorly for him to not finish last, even in the best case scenario.
Yeah, and again, that's no reflection on personality or personal things between the players. It's just true. You don't want to get knocked out, so you need someone to do worse than you. That's exactly how relegation works. The worst person goes out. But anyway, let's move on to